made to look at it was either to buy a put at 121, which the price of the put was around 550, something like that, or you could potentially, that put then would be sold right in this area right here. Let's say I just arbitrarily 121. You can use a price that you prefer, or you could sell a call at 125 or thereabouts, which is above the range and kind of out of danger where you don't expect the price to go. Now, the put has some limitations. You know, you have a little bit of a high VIX reading historically. You know you have a asset that depreciates over time. You know, time erodes the value of the put when you buy. But if you're assuming that there's going to be a setback, it might be a little safer way, a more comfortable way to do it than to take some other chance. For example, you could sell the call, and that's a good strategy, except it's a little bit more nerve-wracking when the market starts to move up, and then you have to make that decision what to do, because we don't know. We don't know if it's going into a trend following or if it's going to back down and stay within that mode. So sometimes we need to, you know, take it a little bit of a safe play and maybe make it, you know, not as clean as we can possibly do it. Now, another point to make when you're talking about anything to deal with stock indexes or any market is that you have to look at other markets. And the key market today, of course, the U.S. dollar index. And when you see what's going on with the U.S. dollar index, you can see that it potentially is in a situation where it could be starting to make that move up. It's kind of like the dollar versus the world. The dollar goes up, stocks go down, oil goes down, you know, other commodities go down. Again, we are into that risk on, risk off type situation. So always be aware, if you're trading, what is happening with the dollar. Now, we need to wrap this up. I've got a couple of remarks we could look at, but we need to really talk about, you know, what we're going to be doing here in terms of what to expect, you know, kind of summarize our trading plan and how to know what to do to determine what our trading plan is going to be. And the first place we have to start is ourselves. You know, we got to have a self-analysis as to how you can do things. You know, you need to know what is realistic for you in terms of what you know, how much experience you have, how much time you have, how much money you have, how much resources, such as, you know, do you have price quoting services, analytical software. You know, obviously the most important thing is your personality. If you're setting up a trading plan, you have to consider what is your personality for assuming risk or for taking profits, because taking profits sometimes can be nerve-wracking as well. You know, if you want to know, you know, want to test it, just try something that involves money and see how you react. You have to assess what you can handle, and of course you still need to have some kind of a life outside of trading. So when you put together your plan, you don't strive for absolute you're striving for excellence, but not necessarily for perfection, because you're unlikely going to never you know, achieve 100% success in trading in terms of trades, but you have to be prepared for those times when there will be some losers. Now, you also have to think how you're going to put all these things together. How are you going to put that plan together? You have to be prepared. You have to define what are your M&Ms. You know, what are you going to do with the markets, the money, the method? How do those all come together in your plan? And as I said, you have to be, if you're trading and you want to be a good trader, you have to have confidence to take some risk. You know, any exposure to the market means some high risk, but you need to be a little greedy, because otherwise it won't happen. And you also need to be somewhat fearful, because it is quite possible that you could be a loser. Then, just as we said with the initial thing where you plan your trade, you have to trade your plan. You have to be able to pull the trigger. You have to be able to execute what it is that you've laid out. You need to get in harmony with the market, and then if you don't find your position, you know, going in the way of the market, then you need to get out with the small loss. And of course, almost every webinar I try to emphasize as my final parting shot is that you must minimize your risk, manage your risk. You can't let it get out of hand, because losing small is as important a part of trading plan as winning big. Now, covered a lot of territory here. Do have to kind of wrap it up here because I'm at the end of my time allocation. If you have questions regarding Vantage Point, I mentioned that this is the number you want to call on the screen. They can tell you more about Vantage Point and the various indicators and what you get a free Vantage Point forecast, tell you a lot more about Vantage Point than I can. If there are other questions, and I see I do have a question, and let's see, I am a newbie to futures trading. I have purchased Vantage Point. I'd like to follow your webinars and learn the system. I wonder if you have favorites in the futures markets for these sessions. I get 6 with the package. Again, the markets you trade and the favorites and so forth will be so variable by traders. It is, what do you know, and what do you know, where do you want to trade? Are you familiar with currencies? You get a package with currencies, or if you want to trade stocks, there are sectors of stocks. It's almost impossible for a person to pick a favorite, for them. As I know what my favorites are. I like to watch in the futures area. I like to watch the grains. I like to watch, and that's why I use the E-mini as my example for for stocks. I have certain stocks that I like to follow because I have some of those in a 401k, so I try to follow them, and I do trade some options and stuff. Those are ones that I pick. Those are mine, but it can't really dictate, what somebody else might want to follow or what their favorite ought to be, because each person is going to have their own different markets that are going to interest them and that they're going to know something about. Question here. The session being helpful, will it be? Yes, the sessions, all the webinars are in the archives. I think Darrell mentioned at the beginning that on TraderPlanet.com you will find the various webinars, and some of them are specific to an indicator, some of them specific to like swing trading or other types of strategies. There are a number of webinars that are available there that you can access and look at those, and of course we'll have other webinars in the future. If there are specific things that you would like to cover, or markets you would like to see, or anything that would be helpful to you as a trader, just indicate what they might be, and we'll try to, we can always point to the certain markets and apply the Vantage Point indicators to those markets to show you what I would do. Again, it's not what everybody has to do. You will have to do your own trading plan, your own approach, all based upon the money and time and so forth that you have. But you can apply the Vantage Point indicators and the technical analysis skills that you learn to almost any chart, and keeping the risk in mind, always keeping some kind of a parameter there for how far you will stretch before you will let go of the losers. Well, it looks like I'm pretty close to my time allocation. I see no other questions. I do, again, want to remind you that we do have more webinars to come. So, be sure to let us know if there's anything that we can talk about that would be helpful to you. So we thank you for attending today's webinar, and I look forward to seeing you at webinars in the future. Darla, turning it back over to you.
Thank you, Darrell. The recording for this webcast will be posted on TraderPlanet within the next 24 hours, and we will be emailing the link for the recording to you. If you are interested in seeking further information on Vantage Point intermarket analysis software, we urge you to contact our friends at Market Technologies, the makers of Vantage Point, via the phone number on your screen. This concludes today's presentation. Thank you for attending, and all of us here at TraderPlanet wish you a pleasant evening.